If you're dying to see what happens next and want to stay 5 episodes ahead in this series and others, then why wait? Join our awesome community of over 500 members on Patreon, where they're already enjoying the latest episodes right now for as little as $2.50 for your first month. So what are you waiting for? Hop over to Patreon after this video and get exclusive early access. With that said, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the page, and I'll see you in the next one. Zarama clenched his fists, his frustration boiling over. His power had grown beyond anything he ever imagined, but even so, it wasn't enough. The warriors before him were on an entirely different level. He had miscalculated. He should have waited. He should have gained more strength before absorbing the Grand Priest, but the opportunity had been too tempting, too perfect. If he had hesitated, the Grand Priest would have been killed anyway, and now it was too late. Floating in the dark expanse of space, Gohan narrowed his eyes, his Saiyan blood burning with urgency. "Only 4 minutes left before this fusion ends," said Wukong, his voice echoing inside Broly's mind. Gohan exhaled sharply. "I'd guess Omni Gogeta doesn't have much longer either." This battle needed to end. Now, without hesitation, he turned to Piccolo, his golden aura flaring violently. "Piccolo!" he called out, his voice cutting through the battlefield. "Not that I need your help, but let's wrap this up and go assist Gogeta. We'll finish this faster together." But Piccolo's response took him by surprise. Floating effortlessly in the vacuum of space, God Piccolo smirked, his piercing red eyes locked onto Zarama. His presence was overwhelming, divine, unlike anything Piccolo had ever been before. "No," Piccolo said firmly, folding his arms. "You stay out of this. I'll handle him myself." Gohan raised an eyebrow. "What?" "I want to test this new form," Piccolo continued, his voice filled with absolute certainty. "I want to see exactly where I stand, how powerful I've become, now that I've fused with every eternal dragon in existence." Zarama's eyes widened slightly. Fused with the eternal dragons? This Namekian had surpassed gods, ascending into something beyond comprehension. Then, without warning, Piccolo moved. With a single motion, he raised his hand, pointing one finger at Zarama. A faint orb of light flickered at his fingertip, humming with raw energy. Zarama's instincts screamed at him. Something was wrong. And then, boom! The tiny ball of energy exploded outward, expanding instantly into a colossal, planet-sized sphere of golden dragon fire. The sheer force of its creation sent shockwaves ripping through the void, distorting space itself. The sphere burned with temperatures 200 times hotter than Earth's sun, a roaring storm of divine flames that could reduce even atoms to nothingness. Piccolo's expression was cold, unshaken. "I'll end this with one attack." Zarama's body tensed, his mind racing. He wasn't afraid of death. He was immortal. But that didn't mean he couldn't feel pain. That didn't mean he couldn't be destroyed. Piccolo's crimson eyes flickered with dangerous intent. "I don't know who you are," he said, his voice deep, resonant, godlike. "But you've stood in the way of my family. And for that," his finger twitched, "you will die." The enormous sphere of dragon fire launched forward, its flames roaring with enough force to tear apart the very fabric of reality. Zarama's heart pounded as he tried to process what was happening. He needed to act, now. And then, Gohan struck a nerve. "Oh, by the way, Piccolo," he said casually, his voice cutting through the chaos. Zarama was the one who killed Gohan before. It was like an explosion went off inside Piccolo's mind. His eyes burned with pure, unfiltered rage. His aura, already overwhelming, surged outward, splitting apart the very space around him. He had been holding back before, keeping his godlike strength restrained, but now he wouldn't. With a single movement, he thrust his hand forward. The colossal dragon fireball ignited with an even greater intensity, surging toward Zarama at unimaginable speed. Zarama gritted his teeth, his massive body shaking as he extended his hands forward. He had no choice but to try and catch it. The moment his palms met the roaring inferno, agony. "I can't! No! I won't let it end like this!" Zarama roared, planting his feet in the void, his muscles straining as he struggled to hold back the attack. The fireball engulfed him, dragon flames raging around his entire form. The heat was beyond comprehension. It melted even the fundamental structure of matter itself. But somehow, Zarama endured, for now. Zarama's laughter echoed across the battlefield, his towering form standing defiantly against the inferno consuming him. His golden eyes burned with arrogance as his energy surged. "Is this all you've got?" he mocked, his voice booming through the endless void. "This is nothing. I can't believe I was even breaking a sweat for this. You dash." Then everything changed. Before Zarama could finish his sentence, something monumental happened. The very stars in the vicinity reacted. Across the infinite cosmos, celestial bodies trembled, releasing vast streams of cosmic energy that linked to Piccolo's attack like a chain of divine fire. The dragon's breath grew even larger, expanding to an unimaginable scale. Its temperature, now over 500 times hotter than Earth's sun. The sheer heat radiated across the multiverse, reaching so far that even Omni Gogeta and Raiko, who were locked in their own battle, paused for a split second, sensing the overwhelming force behind the attack. Zarama's arrogant smirk vanished, his body tensed. Impossible!" he roared, panic creeping into his voice. He felt it now, the unbearable pressure pressing down on him, the overwhelming heat licking at his skin. His golden flesh began to melt, sizzling away like wax beneath an unrelenting flame. Zarama screamed as his power erupted, his energy climbing higher and higher, but it wasn't enough. No matter how much energy he released, no matter how much he struggled, the dragon's breath continued to consume him. The flames didn't just burn, they dissolved matter itself. Even Brohan, as powerful as he was, had to release a massive burst of energy just to shield himself from the sheer intensity of the flames. His golden aura flared violently, pushing against the scorching heat to avoid being incinerated. "Such incredible power," Brohan muttered, his eyes locked on Piccolo, who stood completely still. Unlike the others, Piccolo had not moved an inch. His expression remained cold, unshaken, as if he were merely observing his work. His arms were still folded, and his hand remained raised, glowing with divine energy. It was as if he were a farmer cultivating his land, letting the attack flourish under his guidance. "Indeed," Wukong murmured. Brohan turned, confused by the weight in his voice. "You recognize this attack?" Wukong's eyes narrowed. "I do," Brohan's brow furrowed. "But how? This is Piccolo's technique." "No," Wukong interrupted, his tone grave. "This attack, it's unmistakable." For the first time, Brohan saw something rare, genuine concern in Wukong's face. "It's weaker than I remember, but I'll never forget it," Wukong continued. "This was the attack that Zarama used against me when I was fighting alongside Zeno." Brohan's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" "Zarama, that traitor," Wukong spat, his voice darkening. "He acts like he's your ally, like he means well, but he only gains your trust to use you, and by the time you realize it, it's too late." Wukong's fists clenched, his aura flaring slightly as old memories resurfaced. Zarama had deceived many, Wukong, the eternal dragons, even other divine beings throughout history. He had woven lies and schemes over countless millennia, manipulating mortals and gods alike. And now, he was paying the price. The battlefield had transformed into a raging inferno, a furnace so intense that even the strongest warriors present had to brace themselves. And at its center, Zarama screamed. His once mighty form was now disintegrating before everyone's eyes. The dragon's breath wrapped around him like an unrelenting executioner, burning him from the feet up. His legs were gone. His torso was vanishing, layer by layer. His arms dissolved into golden ash. And yet, he still fought, still refused to accept what was happening. This can't be happening!" Zarama shrieked, his eyes wide with terror, his face twisted in desperation, his mind unable to comprehend his own demise. "I am Zarama," he roared, "the first mortal ever created. I was made in Zeno's image. I was meant to be. Perfect. I am the strongest." His voice cracked, his screams fading as his entire body continued to disintegrate. And then, the realization struck him. For the first time in his existence, Zarama asked himself a question. Am I really going to die? As the thought crossed his mind, only his head remained. Even that was being devoured by the flames. His golden eyes darted frantically, searching for anything, a way out, a chance to escape. But there was nothing. Only fire, only obliteration. His final moments stretched into eternity. And then, his last words echoed into the void. No, his voice was silenced, his head gone. And with that, Zarama, the first mortal, was no more. His existence had been completely erased. The battlefield fell silent. The dragon's breath, the ultimate technique of God Piccolo, had prevailed. Zarama was gone, completely erased. Not even dust remained. And yet, the dragon's breath still burned, an enormous inferno, raging wildly in the void of space. It had taken on the form of a newborn sun, its uncontrolled flames roaring across the battlefield like a divine storm. The sheer heat radiating from it was unimaginable, too intense for any life to exist near it. The cosmos itself seemed to bend under its overwhelming power. And then, Brohan moved. Without hesitation, he charged directly into the heart of the firestorm, aiming for the exact spot where Zarama had been reduced to nothing. Piccolo's eyes widened. "What are you doing, you fool?" The Namekian's deep voice echoed with both shock and warning. He had just unleashed an attack that obliterated the first mortal ever created, an attack burning at a temperature hundreds of times hotter than a star. And yet, Brohan was diving straight into it. A smirk spread across Brohan's face, his fused form glowing with unwavering confidence. His golden aura flared wildly, his muscles tensed, and his energy surged as he prepared something big. Then, it began. From Brohan's body, countless golden Kai threads erupted outward, whipping through space like divine tendrils. The sight was familiar. It looked just like the Masenko, but evolved. This attack had become his signature technique, something uniquely his. But this time, it wasn't just a weapon, it was a tool. "We can't waste this," Brohan muttered, his eyes glowing with fierce determination. To him, this was a gift from the gods. So much raw, uncontained energy had gathered in a single location. To leave it unchecked would be a waste. His golden Kai threads lashed out, piercing directly into the sun-like dragon's breath. But then, something unexpected happened. The threads began to burn. The overwhelming heat of Piccolo's attack was so intense that it was disintegrating Brohan's ki. His eyes widened slightly. This is incredible. Even his pure energy was being burned away, as if it were nothing more than paper before a raging wildfire. The power of Dragon's breath was beyond anything he had anticipated, but Brohan wasn't one to back down. His golden aura exploded outward, his energy surging higher and higher, ripping through space like a supernova. Then, he made his move. His voice boomed through the battlefield. "Ki prison!" The very space beneath him shattered, and an enormous sphere of energy erupted from below his feet, forming a massive prison of Kai around the raging flames of the dragon's breath. The massive inferno, once uncontrollable, was now trapped inside the prison. The flames raged violently, thrashing inside the glowing orb of containment. But Brohan was already moving. He extended his hands forward, and in an instant, his Kai threads lashed out again. But this time, they were different. The threads pulsed with an even greater potency, sharpened and reinforced, crafted with the full extent of his power. They didn't burn away. They sank deep into the core of the dragon's breath. The energy fought back, resisting fiercely, but Brohan's focus was absolute. His mind raced, analyzing every shift, every fluctuation of energy within the flames. Then, he saw it. The building blocks of the dragon's breath, the fundamental Kai structure of the attack itself. Brohan's smirk returned. He had cracked it. He wasn't just containing the energy anymore. He was controlling it. The key prison, once a massive sun-sized containment field, began to shrink. The flames, once wild and uncontrollable, started to collapse inward. And then, the unthinkable happened. The dragon's breath, the very attack that had destroyed Zarama, was being absorbed. Brohan's body pulsed with energy as the flames flowed into him, the once raging inferno now becoming his power as it replenished his body. Brohan hovered in the center of the raging inferno, his golden aura clashing against the dragon's breath, which still roared with uncontained power. The flames swirled around him, alive and untamed, like a burning god seeking destruction. And yet, he stood calm, his fingers flexed, his mind racing. He understood the opportunity before him. "This is perfect," Brohan murmured, his eyes glinting with sharp calculation. "I can't let this go to waste." He had the ability to siphon Kai from the universe itself, a power that could sustain and empower him indefinitely. But there was one problem. Kai is life. Every living thing, mortals, animals, spirits, even celestial bodies possessed Kai. To take from them was to kill them, and he had done it before. During his battle against the Grand Priest, he had felt it. The countless lives that vanished in an instant as he drained the universe of its ki, an unfathomable price for power. Now, there was only one universe left. Universe 7, the last standing cosmos. The weight of it sat heavy on his soul. He simply couldn't take that risk again. He would not sacrifice more lives just to sustain himself. But then, Piccolo had unknowingly given him the perfect solution. The dragon's breath was unique. Unlike normal Kai, it was made from the energy of the stars themselves. And stars held not just Kai, but something else. Mana, a separate, ancient energy source. Unlike Kai, mana was not inherently linked to life itself. It was the energy that fueled the cosmos, the force that powered celestial bodies. And normally, Brohan couldn't absorb mana. It was like trying to drink fire. It simply didn't mix with his physiology. But Piccolo's dragon's breath had changed everything. The attack had fused mana with ki, combining the two energies into a singular force. And because ki was now part of it, Brohan could absorb it. It was like a chemical reaction in a laboratory, a perfect fusion of elements that normally couldn't mix. A miracle. His golden eyes burned with realization. This is it. Brohan extended his hands, focusing every fiber of his being. The ki prison he had formed around the dragon's breath began to unravel, releasing its energy into him. The flames rushed toward him, flowing into his body like a mighty river. His muscles tightened, his veins glowed, his very soul hummed with power. And then it was done. The prison collapsed. The once roaring dragon's breath, an attack powerful enough to annihilate a god, had been completely absorbed. As the smoke cleared, Brohan floated in the vast emptiness of space, his power fully restored. He hadn't become stronger, but he didn't need to, because this was never about raw power. This was about survival. This was exactly the outcome he wanted. Brohan hovered in the dark void of space, his golden aura pulsing with newfound energy. He flexed his fingers, feeling the raw surge of restored power coursing through him. He smirked, his sharp eyes scanning his own glowing hands. That was a gamble, he admitted, rolling his shoulders as if testing his limits. But it worked. My energy's back to full, and he paused, concentrating on the feeling deep inside him. It's as if I just fused all over again. Wukong's voice echoed in his mind, steady but calculating. Yes, if I had to guess, this reset your fusion time. It increased by 11 minutes, meaning you have about 15 minutes left now. Brohan exhaled, pleased with the unexpected result. 15 more minutes. That was all he needed. A deep, commanding voice broke through his thoughts. What did you just do? It was Piccolo. The Namekian's crimson gaze locked onto Brohan, his expression unreadable. The sheer shock of seeing his most powerful attack neutralized so effortlessly was still evident in his face. Brohan smirked, waving a dismissive hand. It'd take too long to explain. Let's just focus on finishing this war. He could feel it. Piccolo was starting to suspect something. Long process, my ass, Piccolo muttered under his breath. His eyes narrowed slightly, studying Brohan. You just wanted to prove you're still stronger than me, huh? Brohan blinked. What? Oh, nothing. Piccolo smirked, but said nothing more. The Namekian crossed his arms, his dark cloak rippling slightly as he floated in place. I'll let you keep believing that, he mused, his voice dripping with sarcasm. That may have been my strongest raw energy attack, but raw power alone doesn't win a fight. I have plenty more where that came from. Brohan chuckled slightly, but Piccolo's words planted a seed of doubt in his mind. Wukong's voice cut through his thoughts again, his tone far more serious. Brohan, don't underestimate him. Brohan's smirk faded. His body is capable of far more than he's shown. Wukong hesitated before continuing. Inside him is the eternal dragon who can reverse any event, even the actions of the Omni King. Brohan's eyes widened slightly, his arrogance now replaced with realization. He had been too confident. It wasn't entirely his fault. Fusion created an entirely new persona, blending the strengths and flaws of its separate components. But that cocky confidence, that was a trait he needed to keep in check. He steadied himself, shifting his focus. Wait, you mean you can't sense them? Piccolo shook his head. No. Brohan frowned. Why not? Piccolo turned to face him fully, his expression serious. They're using godly ki. Brohan's confusion deepened. But aren't you in a god form right now? Piccolo exhaled, only in name. His voice was calm but firm. This form may be divine, but it doesn't use actual god ki. Brohan's brows furrowed. Then what kind of energy is it? Piccolo's gaze didn't waver. The eternal dragons may look divine, but their power isn't tied to the gods. Their energy operates on an entirely different level. Brohan's expression darkened as he finally stopped letting arrogance cloud his judgment. Now that he truly focused, he could feel it. Multiple, distinct key signatures within Piccolo's body. It was nothing like fusion. He muttered under his breath, "Is this a fusion?" Before he could ask, Piccolo answered, "Technically, yes." Brohan's head snapped up. "Did you just read my mind?" Piccolo smirked slightly. A little. His arms remained crossed as he continued. "I hold the power of the Eternals now. I can hear thoughts. To an extent." Wukong's voice echoed in Brohan's mind, steady yet firm. "See, I told you." Brohan's golden aura crackled around him as he absorbed Wukong's words. He's capable of far more than he's shown. Be thankful he's an ally and not an enemy. Brohan frowned slightly, still staring at Piccolo. "So, are you saying he's stronger than me?" Wukong let out a slight chuckle. "What am I, an energy calculator? How could I possibly know that?" Brohan rolled his eyes. "Then why bring it up?" "Because I can tell," Wukong continued. "His body, it's holding back. That attack was just a fraction of what he's truly capable of. But when it comes to who is stronger between you two," he paused for a moment. "That, I don't know." Before Brohan could respond, Piccolo's deep voice cut through the silence like a blade. "Enough daydreaming!" Brohan snapped out of his thoughts, refocusing as Piccolo stared him down with those piercing crimson eyes. "Your fusion has a time limit," Piccolo reminded him. "Now stop wasting time and take me to Goku and Vegeta." There was something different about Piccolo. He was more assertive now, almost commanding. It was subtle, but Brohan could sense it. The influence of the eternal dragons. After all, they weren't just any race. They were one of the oldest and most elite beings in existence, rivals to the demons, angels, and primordial entities, a race personally created by Zeno's father. Unlike other beings, they were given the title of Eternals, similar in rank to the primordial demons and the celestial angels. They were older than Zeno himself, and now, all that power resided inside Piccolo. Brohan smirked slightly, his golden hair flickering in the cosmic winds. "Fine. Let's move." Without hesitation, he launched forward, activating Wings Cloud Skipping, a technique that allowed him to traverse dimensions in an instant. Piccolo followed, his form gliding through the endless expanse of space, his movement eerily similar to the dragons of old. He was star-skipping. Just like the ancient dragons, he could move across the fabric of space and time, soaring between the stars with seamless grace. Both warriors moved at speeds beyond light, their figures blurring through galaxies, tearing through the cosmos itself. Their destination, Omni Gogeta, who was still locked in combat with Raiko, one of Zeno's royal guards. But there was a problem. 2 minutes remain. And that's it for today's episode, guys. If you watched to the end, then that could be an indication that you enjoy the series. So please leave a like on the video. Thank you and take care.